Hi everybody, you're gonna see how to fix a water heater, tankless water heater which has leak. As you can see here, I'm having leak, water leaking from the water inlet manifold of the tankless water heater. Continue watching this and click on like button down below. Another example of water leak post
it was much bad yesterday.
The water valve
Maybe hot water
leaking.
always think about it.
As you can see, it's not a whole lot in this scenario, but it's drip by drip. But the solution is the same. We're going to replace that valve, and that we're going to do that in this video. Outlet pipe is opened.
Joint.
As you can see in the diagram here, those two parts, water manifold bypass valve and control valve, will be replaced in this video. Hello Texas. Here I'm here to give you some tidbits about repairing a tankless water heater and make sure don't get ripped off from the plumbers, and more likely you will be able to do it yourselves if you follow a few of the instructions that we go over here. So in this case that we're looking at, this is a Rheem Tankless Water Heater. The model number is RTG84XLN-1. This is an outdoor unit with an exhaust coming off from the unit. You know, in the recent ice storm that we have experienced in Texas, my water heater blew and I started having leaks in the inlet core, in the inside water, where the water bypass valve and then the control valve were leaking. I was able to check that the heat exchanger and all the coils associated, the circuit board, everything was working. Just that I was having a water leak. So very common. We have seen a lot of similar problems in our neighborhood, and we would like to ensure that you can follow some of these instructions and do it yourselves. Again, this is an RTG84XLN-1. Even some of the other RTG Rheem Tankless water heaters have similar instructions and similar parts. Before you do anything, take a picture of all the circuit board and where the wires are going, as well as, you know, where is it linked to the box. We are about to replace this water bypass valve as well as the water control valve right behind it. All right, so now we have to remove the outer cover of the heater. So they're just supported by four screws, you know, 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top. And so unscrew it and place the plate outside. And so unplugging this, just be careful as you unplug the wires from its connectors. There's usually a small flap that you press on it to remove these wires, and on the circuit board, it's very it was a very good design with all the different pins. Rheem had used different pins for different lines, so it's very hard to misplace these wires onto a different pin. So right now we are in the process of removing one at a time. Yeah, in order to, we have to do this in order to get access to the water control valve as well as the bypass valve. It makes it a lot easier. It seems a lot of work, but once you have done it once and you have looked at this video, you should be able to do it yourselves. Before you start removing one at a time, just make sure that some of these wires are clipped, and you can take them off pretty easily. And these are nothing but ties to wire ties to put all the wires together. So just take a little time, unplug or untie some of these, and so you can get the wires out of the way, and you can start accessing some of the screws that are in the way that we'll get there. So the plan here is we're going to remove the circuit board right here, unplug each and every wire, take the screw off, get the power off to the circuit board, and we should be able to access the control valve behind the circuit board, which is behind this. So we are just about halfway through this step. As you can see now, you can start accessing the valves, and all we need to do is take one more wire, and then take this tie off here, get these wires off, and we can get the circuit board off, and you can clearly work on your valve. Yeah, so I had a leak in one of my heaters. We had a leak in here, and one of the other heaters we had a leak in the unit behind this, which is the control valve. And so right now we are attempting to replace this as well as replacing the back. So right now we are taking those 4 screws so that we can take the coils out of the bypass module. So just be a little patient, because these heads on these screws are not that super strong. Once you've taken those off, you can pull those copper coils out, and you would see a little bit of water. Just keep a rag handy with you. Put a rag underneath, and whatever excess water would you can dry it out. So that would be one at a time. Let the water drain. That's inside the module. So you can see, you can just pull it out, and you see the O-ring which is attached to this. See the O-ring that's attached to this. So we're going to replace this this unit right here and the unit behind. All right, so first step to removing this is that we got to remove this union piece, which couples the 2 parts together. They're 2 parts joined by a union. It's just a slip-on union. We can just take it right out. And then, as you can see, it's very less space in there. So now we are removing the second union, the union that is as you can see, this is the second part, which is the water control valve, and we're gonna unhook the wire and replace that one too. So that's the second part that we're gonna replace, and both of them for me were leaking. And so the second part number that we're gonna replace is RTG 20164L. It's again RTG 20164L, and we're gonna gonna replace it. It's very simple. Just needs a little patience. So we're gonna now continue to replace this. So unpack it and we're gonna replace this. All right. So now you're able to get the 2 copper tubes out, and so here's and what my suggestion is, just unplug. In my case, it was not an electrical issue, so I'm going to reuse the same wire. And this is how our parts look like. This part is how a water bypass valve looks like, and I'm going to give you the part number that I'm using to. So the part number on this one is an RTG 20235X. So I purchased it by going to Rheem.com. Was able to pay next day air. Unfortunately, with Saturday, I was able to get it on Monday morning here. And so that's one part. And then the next part that we are attempting to remove is the water control valve. There you go. Yep. So that's how it'll go down. Water control valve. Then we're going to install the bypass valve, and we're going to get in. In this part, this is the water control valve. We have no option but to replace all the wires, and as you can see, there is no clip here, so I have to end up replacing with the wires. Okay, we removed one more. Wire. And here's the wire. So just to look at all the wires, so there's the water control valve has a 9-pin connection. Then it has one more connection here, and then there's one more. So all these would terminate in the circuit board, and so we are replacing the wires all the way to the circuit board here with the new control valve. As you can see, this is where the water inlet comes in. It goes into the water control valve, and then the water bypass valve. And just for information, water bypass valve, what it does is it mixes some cold water with some hot water that's coming from the heater to give you the desired temperature, whether it's 118 degrees, 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can easily you feel comfortable in your shower. So that's what it does. And unfortunately, during the heavy freeze we saw in 2021 February, those are the 2 parts that started leaking. The water expanded and it started leaking. So here's what I'm doing right here, putting the bottom portion on here, and trying to put this. I'm sure there's a O-ring which is the black color right here, and then you have the other Teflon piece, that's white Teflon piece that's up there, and insert it in and place it over here. And we're gonna put in the union flange right here, which is just a union. I'm gonna union clip. So as you can see, I'm just gonna clip it, place the clip so that I can attach the valve to the bottom pipe. Okay, so now we got the control valve in as the water comes in with the clip, and then you have the water bypass assembly. So as you can see, this is how it's going to go in. The one side is with one hole, and then the other side has 2 of them for the 2 water copper coils that need to go in. So just be careful, take your time, and insert it in, and then as you can see, to mate these 2 pieces, you're going to use another union clip.
ముందు వచ్చింది యాక్చువల్లీ.
All right, so now I was able to put the piece in, and so now what we're gonna do is put the plate, the bracket, and tie in 4 screws right here. And then before we turn on everything, we're gonna test the unit, make sure there's no further leak in the where the water is coming in and out, ensuring that the gas is still off. So look forward for that test. I just put in the clip mating these 2 parts, and then now I'm going to put in this plate with these 2 screws here. Now I'm tying in the plate and the other screw for the bottom. So right now we are testing for leak without putting the actual circuit board right here. So we first open the water outlet, which is the red valve, and then you slowly open the blue valve and check for leaks. Right? Where is this frozen? Where do we have any leaks? It's a critical step in this process, because the very reason we are replacing these parts are because of the leak. So give it about a minute or 2. Make sure that there is no drops of water, because the moment there's water, your circuit breaker is going to switch off, and it's not a pleasant situation at that point. So, and also turn on the hot water at the inside one of the sinks. So we have opened both the inlet right here and an outlet here, and then there is no leak. All right, so as you can see, I've kept it open for 10 minutes, and I don't see 1 drop of water coming out. So that is a good test. Just make a scan, and so once you've done testing it out, my suggestion then would be to close the inlet valve first, and then close the outlet valve, drain the heater, and then start putting your circuit board back and all the wiring around it. So as you can see, I'm gonna close the inlet valve first. Then I'm gonna close the outlet valve, which is going to the house, and then I'm gonna lift this pin. Keep the pin lifted up so that you can see the water coming out. So you can see very clearly the heater is getting drained right now. And once the water comes off, we're gonna get the circuit board in and start packing this up. Place back the thermocouples to this coil right here, and place back the switch, the power, and all the wires are connected one after the other. Slowly back. Keep in mind there's nothing connected here when I got it, and nothing connected over here, blue one. So now we are in the process of connecting the circuit board to this plate, and let's connect it to this plate, and then after that, this whole plate we're going to connect it over to the heater unit. Before we dress it up again, we just wanted to test it out. Turn on the hot water, turn on the hot water and the gas, and do you hear the click? That means the heater turned on, and one of the faucets was on, and that's where you're testing. So if it's working clearly, you would see if it's working clearly, you can definitely see and feel the hot flue gas coming from the top. That's where the exhaust is of an outdoor unit, and that's how you know. Be careful not to touch the unit, and you see the hot. So you hear the click, that means the heater is working, and you see the red light as well. The flame there that's heating up. You can hear it, you can feel it, feel the hot air coming from the exhaust, and then see, look for any water leakage. So it seems to be working. So now I'm gonna, after the test is done, I'm gonna close everything again. Be safe, guys. You know, switch off the gas, switch off the water inlet and outlet, and then try to put the cover on. And we got a couple more screws to put in, and then we should be in decent shape to use it. So I would say
during the next deep freeze like we had experienced in Texas, I would recommend draining the heater, getting it dry, and even if you lose your power, then you shouldn't have any problems. But if you don't lose your power, then you don't have to do anything. I would say this is the cheapest way you can protect your unit against any freeze up and further repairs.
Yep. So finally just turn on your gas, water in and out, everything is turned on. Put your plug in and open the faucet. It should turn it on. And there's one more step. Look at the thermostat inside your house and set your desired temperature that you want. Last one step, check your default temperature and your thermostat. You will have a thermostat. In this case I had two thermostats, and if the power is off, check the circuit breaker and then turn on the power by turning it on. And then to increase your temperature or decrease the temperature, you can press and hold. And then if you want to decrease it, press and hold. So if you do one click, it doesn't, you know, sometimes it happens, sometimes it does not. So we like it at 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's what I have. And whenever the unit is on, you would see a red light here telling you that the power unit is working. Click the like button below to, you know, once you have done it. I would say don't overpay Texas to the plumbers. Get your parts and do it yourselves. In the meantime, if you had to use a water coil or anything to heat up water for your everyday use. Take care, Texas. We will talk further.